What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new football news video. And in this video I will talk about the fact that Mkhitaryan will miss the Europa League final because of politics and because of UEFA awarding Azerbaijan a Europa League final, a whopping like 4,000 or 5,000 kilometers away from London, where the two finalists are coming from, Chelsea and Arsenal. And even though these two clubs got 6,000 tickets each only for a stadium which is capable of hosting 68,000 people, even those 6,000 tickets haven't sold because traveling to Azerbaijan is almost impossible from Western Europe, and also it's incredibly expensive and it takes like 3, 4 or even 5 days. Some Chelsea fans went 7 or 8 days earlier. They left London to travel to Azerbaijan. That's how difficult and that's how far it is from Western Europe, and that's how difficult it is to get there. And also it's not the safest country, and even though the ordinary people of Armenia and Azerbaijan don't really have a lot of problems with each other, the governments have a lot of issues. And when politics get involved in football, it's never a good look. But Mkhitaryan is actually Arsenal's third top scorer this season, and Mkhitaryan has played the most games in the Europa League for Arsenal. So I think it's an absolute travesty that he can't play in this Europa League final. And it was in the end Mkhitaryan's decision and Arsenal's decision, because Mkhitaryan and his family just don't feel safe going to Azerbaijan, because Azerbaijan has a big conflict with Armenia and a territorial dispute going on since the 1980s. So let me know, what do you think about this whole issue, and we will explore the details in this video. And I just wanted to make a separate video on this because this is a very important topic, and I think UEFA and the whole football community need to learn a lot from this problem and this situation. We have thoroughly explored all the options for Mkhitaryan to be part of the squad, but after discussing this with him and his family, we have collectively agreed he will not be in our traveling party. That is Arsenal's statement on this issue. And also Arsenal said that they have written to UEFA expressing our deep concerns about this situation, because Mkhitaryan has been a key player in Arsenal's run to the final, and this is a big loss for them. That's what they are saying. And I feel very, very sorry for Mkhitaryan. Can you imagine? You are a professional footballer. You probably have nothing to do with the conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia, and because you are a certain nationality, you are not really welcome in that country and not really allowed in that country. And there is no excuse for UEFA, honestly, to award Azerbaijan this Europa League final. I get the idea behind it, to give everybody, almost like every nation, a chance to host a big European final. But if that country is not capable and not suitable to host any player from any European country, then I think it shouldn't be able to host a Europa League final. That's just my opinion, but I would want to hear your opinion, because I mean, Armenian, even Arsenal and Chelsea fans who just have Armenian names are not getting into Azerbaijan. That's how serious this issue. And Mkhitaryan himself did an announcement on his Twitter. He said, having considered all the current options, we had to take the tough decision for me not to travel with the squad. It's the kind of game that doesn't come along very often for us players, and I must admit, it hurts me a lot to miss it. I will be cheering my teammates on. Let's bring it home, Arsenal. Let's bring home the trophy. And that is a big miss. But can you imagine a similar situation if, let's say, Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi or Mbappe or Neymar won't be allowed in the country of the final? It's a World Cup final, a Champions League final, Europa League final, whatever final. There would be absolutely massive uproar, and I'm sure that UEFA would move the final if it wasn't if it was a more high profile player. Because Mkhitaryan is from Armenia, which is a small country, this is just brushed aside. And I honestly think that Arsenal should boycott this final, but they can't, because they are relying on the Europa League final to get to the Champions League. If they were in the Champions League and they didn't really need that like 5 or 10 million that they could earn from winning this final, then that could be a serious possibility of Arsenal boycotting this final. And but now, because Arsenal are really desperate to get back into the Champions League, and getting into the Champions League next season for Arsenal financially could be huge, and also they could attract bigger players, better players. So it's a big game in Arsenal's season, one of their biggest, and they are missing one of their best midfielders, and it's such a shame that it has come down to this. But Gunners Arsenal managing director Vinay Venkatesham said the situation is unacceptable. This is what he said. I struggle to find words for how strongly I feel. We don't feel he can travel, and it's extraordinarily sad. You don't get the chance to play in major European finals often, and Mkhitaryan has had it taken away from him. And I really agree with him. It's a very sad situation when a professional footballer, I mean, you know guys, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but this issue really bothered me, really rubbed me the wrong way, because can you imagine what it must feel like for Mkhitaryan himself? You dedicate like almost your whole entire life to work your ass off to become a professional footballer, and the pinnacle of a professional footballer's life is a European Cup final. And Mkhitaryan probably won't play in many Champions League finals, World Cup finals. Armenia won't even qualify most likely for a World Cup. So for him, this could have been one of his biggest games of his career. And the fact that he is not able to play in a European final is devastating, and it's not his fault at all. So that's what I find very hard to accept. And also, speaking at the Financial Times summit, this Arsenal sporting director continued, we made our point clearly to UEFA. We have written to them. We will also sit down with them face to face after the final and express how it is unacceptable and how it can never happen again to Arsenal or anyone else. This situation is unacceptable, and I fully agree with this. And also, the General Secretary of the Azerbaijan Football Association told BBC that politics stays away from sport. That's what he believes. And of course, the Azerbaijan like head of the FA would say that. And he said this: we always protect the integrity of the sport. We are confident that nothing would happen here in terms of security and safety. On behalf of the government and the local organizing committee, we gave all the guarantees to UEFA and the club, but I think this was a personal decision of the player together with his family. That was of course safety and security guarantee. I find this baffling. Like, how can you say that politics stays away from sport when exactly because of politics Mkhitaryan doesn't feel safe as a professional footballer to travel to the country that hosts a European final? I find that absolutely mind-blowing, honestly. Like, how could he let this situation happen? Well, I will tell you how. One of the Azerbaijani regular people, like just an ordinary football fan, posted to Reddit that he personally and most of the people of Azerbaijan has no problem with Armenia. There are people from Armenia living in Azerbaijan. There are people from Azerbaijan living in Armenia, and they have the borders and the territory and overlap between the two countries in terms of from both countries people are mixing into the other countries sometimes. But he admitted that his own government is very corrupt, and there are huge problems, tension between the two governments, and that's why probably there is a big issue politically between the two countries. And also the fact that the government is corrupt is probably obvious, because I can't imagine that Azerbaijan did not give any like compensation to any UEFA board member and just got awarded the Europa League final on merit. Because if you look at Azerbaijan and the infrastructure there, I mean, they only sent 6,000 tickets to Arsenal and 6,000 tickets to Chelsea because apparently their airport and their hotels can't host more fans. Like, what? How, in what world are you fit to host a Europa League final when 12,000 fans can only travel to your city that hosts the Europa League final? I find that absolutely mind-blowing. And like, that's 12,000 people and the stadium can host 68,000 people. So like probably more than 50,000 people will come from like companies and governments, and well, like, how can you fill the stadium? Or will the stadium be a half-empty stadium on the brink of Asia? It's almost in Asia, Azerbaijan. It's like, it's in Europe, but it's so far, just check on the map, it's so far away from like even Turkey. It's thousands of kilometers away from Turkey, and that's how far Azerbaijan is. And it's almost in Asia if you look at the map. I'm honestly, I couldn't believe like Azerbaijan is next to Iran, and Iran is already playing in the Asia Confederation. So that's how far Azerbaijan is. It's probably the country, the furthest country in like Eastern Europe, which is still in Europe and not in Asia. I understand the reason why maybe UEFA, they can say that they wanted to include Azerbaijan into the flow of European football, but this country and Baku and the final, if you check the stadium, the infrastructure is not ready for that yet. They should improve the infrastructure, and maybe like 3 or 5 years from now, when they built a bigger airport or they built better roads or they updated the stadium a little bit, then they can host a Europa League final. But only if every single European country's player can travel to the country that hosts the Europa League final or the Champions League final without any problems, without any political tension or any politics coming into play. That's my opinion. That's how you should select a European final host country, in my opinion. And you know what's even more interesting is that this city, Baku in Azerbaijan, will host some games in the European Championship, like next summer. How can you award them a Europa League final and the European Championship host city? I think it must be down to money or something like that. But let me know, feel free if you know more than me about this issue, let me know in the comments below. And thanks for watching, guys. I hope that you guys find this video informative and interesting. I tried to make this as interesting as possible and just gave my opinion. So let me know what do you think, and thanks for watching. See you later, guys. Goodbye.